Hello and welcome to the Three Will Podcast. This is your host, Danny Ryan, and I have the pleasure of having enterprise architect Tim Coalson here with me. Tim, how's it going?
Oh, it's going well, Danny.
How's that feel?
Oh, titles are everything.
I bring this up because one of our clients referred to Tim as an enterprise architect, and that's great to hear. I mean, you've really come a long way. Titles are not everything, but it's just it sort of lends itself to how much you're both taking on new technology and guiding people as they're making decisions. So that's a good thing, Tim.
Well, there's something about being old and being into this field quite a long time, experience over time. Funny things sort of come back around. So
Yep.
able to apply that and make people successful. So
Awesome. So today I wanted to talk about some recent project work, what you're doing today, and sort of compare that with what we typically do on projects. So why don't you just give us a little bit, get us kicked off with some of the things that you're focusing in on now?
yeah, depending on the types of projects, the sizes of the customers, the budgets for projects sort of dictates some of the pieces that you might introduce in a project. So in a lot of projects, maybe they're smaller departmental apps, maybe the budget's not huge, so unit testing, performance testing really may not be a concern for the customer. But in this case, this project I've been working on, which is a public-facing support site, including knowledge bases, case management, there's quite a bit of users across the world, so high availability is important, performance is important, making sure we don't break existing functionality is important. So recently we went through a whole rebranding of the site where we basically took a site that has been developed over probably a 10-year period or more, and basically put a new facelift on the site to make it look a little bit more modern. And now that we've done that and we've actually started to see more customers coming to the site, now it's important that as we have a lot more customers coming to the site, that moving forward, that from a security standpoint, from a denial of service standpoint, from a usability, we got to make sure that as we create new features on the site that we don't break things. So unit testing, performance testing, things like that are becoming much more important now. Logging, being able to see behind the scenes, what are users doing, being able to, if there is an issue, being able to track that through the logging is also helpful. So we've been taking on a lot of things that are not so much customer-facing type work, but starting to put a unit testing framework in place, starting to write unit tests so that as we do create new features, we can feel confident that not only does our new functionality work, but we haven't broken any existing functionality. From a performance standpoint, making sure as we write these interfaces to backend systems such as Salesforce and even local databases, that from a performance standpoint, our customers will get good response times, that the site will be more usable. From a denial of service standpoint, making sure that our login, where if a user exceeds a certain amount of login attempts, that we use CAPTCHA or some other mechanism to make sure that it's not a computer or a hacker hitting our system, but it truly is an individual who's just mistyped their password. So we're really taking on several different fronts to make the site more hardened, so that it's more maintainable in the future, and that as we do develop new features, that we don't break existing functionality.
Nice. It sounds like we're going a little full circle at Three Will, where we're back to the earlier days of our ASP.NET and sort of enterprise building enterprise apps and some of the stuff that we've you brought unit testing up and performance testing. A lot of the things that I guess in more recent years we've been focusing primarily on these business solutions that we're trying to get out and get value out of as soon as we can. And so typically the focus has been on getting new features out, and that's you don't typically have budgets for going and doing unit testing, performance testing, and a lot of those things on a typical SharePoint project.
Right. So it's kind of neat to get back to some of the things that we've done in the past. Yet, however, the technologies and the tools to do that have become a lot more enriched, a lot more feature rich. So there is some new learning to go through to figure out, okay, what are the latest tools that are available, what are the features available. But in the end, it's basically the same things that we've done in the past, just with a slightly different twist. But the tool sets are very good to be able to manage logs, to be able to bring together logs from different places, to be able to analyze and to be able to evaluate those. So we're kind of creating a framework that moving forward should help with ongoing monitoring of the site, and as we learn about the way customers are using the site, then be able to enhance it to make it even more beneficial.
So how's this going to change you when you go back into a typical SharePoint implementation? Is there anything you're going to take away from this, or really some of these things are just going to be for this project but don't really apply to sort of more of a SharePoint related type of project?
I think some of the logging, we have done some of that in the past. We've created SharePoint lists and we've created log output to those lists. So I think for me, seeing the value of that, I will probably try to make sure that we do include that into more of the projects that I work on, so that if there are questions about how things are working, or if there are problems, that we do have logs that we can go back to and look at to see if there's been any kind of exception behavior or any other thing that we can track that would help us predict why something's not working, or even on a positive side, how are users using the site? Can we see from some of the typical things you might even get from Google Analytics? How are people navigating through your site? But some of that you can create even in a local log to sort of audit the way they're moving through the site.
Nice.
So that can be helpful to as you think about new features and how do you want to enhance the site.
Good. You have much? When's the project wrapping up, or is this one of those never-ending projects?
There's just a lot to do. So
Yeah.
We've got, I guess, technical debt that we've accrued over, maybe the last 10 years, where as this application has been managed by different groups. So we're at a point now where we're updating the documentation, creating unit tests where maybe they didn't exist, adding a new logging framework. So there's a lot of work we're doing and a lot of existing code base that we're going back and putting these pieces into. So it's a fairly long-term effort. And of course, at the same time, we want to continue to add new value, for new features for both external customers as well as internal customer service reps. So it'll just continue to be phased in, and we'll balance new features versus making the existing site more maintainable.
Awesome. Anything else before we wrap up here?
Nope. I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for taking some time off of your project to share what's going on, and appreciate you taking the time to do that. And again, congratulations we had some really nice comments from a client about Tim, and just thank you for everything you do every day. I like one of the things I really like about you is you are intelligent. I know it's going to be hard to hear that, Tim, but you are intelligent, but you're also emotionally intelligent, which means you're very sensitive to other people, and I really appreciate how much you look at both the team and the client, and make sure that everybody is listened to and heard, and just do a really good job at keeping projects going successful and well managed. And I just thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Danny.
You betcha. Thanks everybody for taking the time to listen, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.